Surprise. Hey, hope you're all doing well. Haha. Let's do another live. Let's talk about our favorite topic. Let's do it. Bitcoin. Yes. Let's do it, guys. All right. Hope you're all doing well. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Yo. All right, guys. Yeah. Q&A session. Q&A session. Guys, bring your questions here. You know, every single time I do one of these, right? I usually start off with some type of monologue, and oftentimes I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. I just sort of start shooting from the cuff. That's usually to give enough people to sort of get logged on, understand, because I don't do any advance notice for a lot of these live things, and I know that's a pain, but it's just the way my life is. I can't plan these things, but yeah, bring your questions. I'm not going to do any off the cuff monologue that takes 20 minutes. I've got limited time here as far as the time I have on my camera at the current moment. And I don't want to waste any time. Now, oftentimes I don't get a lot of questions from you. And so sometimes that just tells me that many of you just say, Oliver, no, go off the cuff. But I'd like to really take an opportunity to get as many questions as you typically or as you have on your mind. And you can ask anything your heart desires, especially if it's Bitcoin related. And I don't mind taking questions that aren't Bitcoin related. You ask anything that's on your mind. But, you know, our favorite topic here is Bitcoin. So if it could be Bitcoin related, that's an extra plus. So anyway, guys, come on in, make yourselves comfortable if you have some time. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let me know. Let me know if you have anything that's bugging you, anything that you're uncertain about. And I will say this, I am by no means, I do not consider myself by any means a Bitcoin expert by any stretch of the imagination. I am going down the Bitcoin rabbit hole like many of you are. And I made it, I had this idea a few years ago. Why not sort of go down this experience this learning curve and go down the rabbit hole in real time so that we can do it, you know, in a way, side by side, step by step, you know? And let's learn in real time. Let's make our mistakes in real time and things of that nature. So I thought that was a great experiment. And I'm very glad that I did that. And I decided to do that in, I would say, mid 2020. And I've been doing that ever since in a variety of different ways. But still, as I go deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, which takes you in myriad different directions, I consider it's interesting that the deeper you go, the more you understand that you don't understand, the more you understand that the horizon continues to move on you. So as soon as you think that you've gotten this in one way or another, that horizon moves on you and you realize that you're simply just scratching the surface. And one of the reasons I think that's the case is because Bitcoin touches on so many aspects of the human experience, because it is freedom, it is money, it is technology, it is the future, it is advancement, it is purity, it is mathematics. All of these things touch on every aspect of our experience as human beings. And we've never really had something that has come into our lives as human beings that is so ubiquitous in terms of what it means for almost every aspect of our lives. I've never met a serious Bitcoiner who has not said that Bitcoin has not affected their life in some profound way. And it did for me. And it doesn't matter, in my opinion, what socioeconomic level you find yourself on, or what educational level, or what station you are in life, in your mind or your opinion. I think it has something of value to deliver to all. And over time, all will ultimately get it. The thing that I've learned through being somewhat of a history buff and being connected to the financial world, which is really connected to what makes the world go round for most of us, is that, you know, the thing that I've realized is that everything, the only thing that we come into this life with is a limited amount of time. And time is the stuff that life is made up of. And time is value. And anything that is connected to money is really, in a way, connected to your time. Money, stores of value, and things of that nature are nothing more than the representation, the human representation of your time, which is your life. And I was actually always, I grew up in somewhat of a religious family. Well, at least half of my family. My mother was extraordinarily religious. And, I grew up with this notion that money wasn't everything, at least from my mother's perspective. Money wasn't everything. And money, in some ways, is the root of all evil. I'm sure you've heard of that saying. And I grew up with that, but it never really truly resonated with me because I could never really accept that. It never really jived with me that money was the root of all evil. As I got older, and especially as I got into the financial world, I realized that money is not the root of all evil, that money, in a sense, is what represents your value. There is no yardstick other than money, in a way, to measure the value that you are contributing to other human beings, life itself. And our purpose is to really deliver value. Now, money comes into play, or money becomes increasingly important, especially when the value that you deliver to other human beings and the value you exchange for your actual existence on this planet sometimes can be in excess of what you need at the moment. And that is where money becomes extraordinarily important to you. Where do you store the time, your life? Time is your life. Where do you store the time that you've given and you've received money in exchange for that time, that value, your life? Where do you place it until you need it? And what I have discovered with the help of Bitcoin is that is stolen. That it's not so much that the time that you give to buy eggs and milk and meat and food and the shelter, the roof over your head, that's not so much stolen. What's stolen from humans is the time that they don't need right now. And the trick that's been played on us is, give me that. You don't need that right now. Give it to me. I'll take care of it for you. And that is what has been stolen. But when your money is stolen from you, when portions of the time, which is your life, time is the stuff that life is made up of. So if you've given your time, your life, in exchange for this money that you don't need now, and someone says, hand it to me, I'll take care of it for you, and that is stolen from you, or a portion of that is siphoned off from you continuously, your life is literally being stolen from you. And time is what really is the human aspect. That is what makes us human. That is what our life is. And a slave is one who does not have ownership of his time. 100% of 100% of the time of a slave is owned by another, and all the fruits of the labor from that time is owned by another. That is what we call a slave. Well, you can also be a slave in parts, or there can be a portion of your life that's a slave. So if you have given your time, and in exchange for this time, you receive a coupon called money that you don't need to spend on milk, food, and shelter right now, but you need your life or your time, your money to be protected for future use, whether that is your future use or the future use by your offspring or their offspring generationally or what have you. It's still your life that you gave for that. And so Bitcoin's taught me to respect that more and to be very careful about giving that money, your time, your life to another man. And Bitcoin has come into our lives to basically say, look, here I am. For the first time in the human experience, you have something that you can place your time, your life, your money in, and mathematically so, in a very open way, in a permissionless way, you can see how your life is being handled, how your time is being handled, how your money is being handled. And mathematically, every 4 years, what you trust here in Bitcoin will be more, will be worth more, will be higher, will be richer, will be wealthier. And we've never really had something like that available, at least in mass. And what's so special about Bitcoin is that it is the ultimate vault for every single human being on earth to store exactly what you don't need at the current moment. And it's come to replace all of those fake sources that claim to be that in the past, that claim to take the role of I'll protect it for you, you know? And they've all failed until now. And so, you know, the deeper I go down the rabbit hole, the more and more I understand that. And that is a solution that means something, that has value for every single human being on earth. It's not about, oh, well, you know, this blockchain, you can buy your hamburger 3 seconds faster than this blockchain. That doesn't solve a problem for every human being on earth. It doesn't protect one's time. You know, these are bullshit narratives to enrich others. They don't really mean anything. They fool a lot of people into There are people who fool a lot of people into believing that these things have importance for the entire human race. Oh, well, you can save your pictures of a banana here, and no one can ever steal your picture of a banana. Really? Seriously? That's where we've stooped to believing that that has value? Well, this blockchain you can spend your wealth faster. You can give it to another person faster than this one. You can give up your time and your value to another man faster. That is our value proposition. Shitcoin. You can buy your hamburger faster. You can buy your hot dog 3.5 seconds faster than this. This one's slow. Really? That's your claim to fame? You know, your monkey picture. You like that monkey picture, right? The most primitive monkey pictures have what value? Dude, my kid can draw a better picture than that. This is your claim to fame. This is what you're you're promoting to me as a solution for every human being on earth. No, I want something that protects my family forever. Even if I'm gone, I want them to know that it's there, that no one can steal it, that no one can take it, that no one can manipulate it, that no one can confiscate it, that they can verify that it's freaking real, and that they'll have access to forever. And this is what I've learned that Bitcoin delivers for us, something that in truth, consciously or unconsciously, the human race has been in search for throughout its entire evolutionary process, but we finally have it now. Bitcoin is more than something that you buy for $1 with the expectation of selling it for $2. We've always had that. That is not special. Oh, I can buy this for $1 and later I can sell it for $2. That's not the special aspect of Bitcoin. There's a zillion things. I can buy, I'm in Colombia right now. I live part of my life in Colombia. I can buy cocaine for $1 and sell it for $5. That's not the valuable thing about Bitcoin. So anyway, the deeper I go down this rabbit hole, the more and more special I understand it as, and the more I'm convinced that you're not going to get it from me. You're not going to trick me into all the things I've always been able to get for this. It's the most limited thing on earth. It's the scarcest thing on earth. It's the fairest thing on earth. It's the hardest thing on earth. It's the best money we've ever come in contact with as a human species. And everything in life is about finding the best money to store your life in. It's not about using your money to buy Louis Vuitton purses for $10,000. That's nonsense. Or cars that get used every single day and should go down in value, but because we live in clown world, they go up in value. And that's bullshit. It's about storing my life. Where can I store my life, my time? I gave my time and I received this for my time. I've only got a certain amount of time. I gave my life, my time, my energy, my effort, my talent, my skill, my intelligence. I gave that to you. In exchange for that, you gave me this slip of paper, or this digit on a screen. Now, I don't need it right now. Where do I place that? I don't want to place it in a Louis Vuitton purse. I don't want to place it in your watch or whatever. I want to place it somewhere where I know that if I never have to touch it, it's still there, it's still true, it's still real. No one can take it, no one can steal it from me. And if I die, my kids get it. And if they die, their kids get it. And it's there forever. And it's something I can verify any day of the week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That is what Bitcoin delivers to the human race. And we've never really had that. We've had to trust other men with our time. And that is a form of slavery. All right, guys, what questions do you have here? See, I'm off ranting again. You see? It always happens. I'm off ranting again. All right. Savings is technology. Absolutely. Chip says this. Look, savings is technology. I'll even take you one step further. I'll raise you on that, Chip. All right. Money is technology. What we call money is really technology, and what we call technology is really money, because all we're searching for is what saves my time. Chip says savings is money. Technology saves the human race time. There was a time when I had to do complicated mathematical equations with time. The calculator shortened that time, technology. So technology saved my life. Savings saved my life. Technology saved my time. Time is my life. I've only got a certain amount of time. That's what I come into this world with. And when I'm finished, I have no more time. So technology saves time. Savings is technology. All right. And anything that helps you gain your time is a technological advancement. Anything that allows you to store your time, which is another way of saying save your time, is a form of technology. All we've ever wanted to do was to do that as a human race. And it's not conscious on the part of most people that that's what they're living for. That's what they're working for. That's what they're striving for. But whether it's conscious or not, even if it's unconscious, it doesn't make it not so. And that is what you're striving for. You're striving to save your life. You're striving to save your time. And Chip is right. Savings is technology. And Bitcoin is the ultimate technology. It's the ultimate savings technology. It's the ultimate lifesaver. Bitcoin is freedom. All right, let's see here. I appreciate that. BKD Coffee Dad. I appreciate that. Yes. Let's see here. OV, Stutter Swag. Oliver, should I take a personal loan out to buy more BTC or a home equity loan or something? This is a very complicated question, and it's one that I increasingly get amongst I don't like to use the term my Bitcoiners, but just people who we're together and we're on this journey together. We're locked in together. And we have been so from 2020. And so I sort of affectionately call them my Bitcoiners. It's not a bad thing. Okay. But what I'm constantly getting this question amongst my Bitcoiners. And it's complicated because everyone's situation is very different. But I will shoot off some bullet points here that I think are worthy to be conscious of when it comes to this question. Should I borrow to buy Bitcoin? Sometimes the answer can be yes for some, and sometimes the answer should absolutely be a resounding no. So my view is that it's better when you can borrow and that borrowing has nothing to do with any existing Bitcoin that you have. So it's a little different when you are posting Bitcoin as collateral to borrow to earn more Bitcoin. That's a little more dangerous because you can actually wind up with no Bitcoin or a lot less Bitcoin. If you are borrowing in a way that has nothing to do with any part or any amount of Bitcoin that you have, that's a very different scenario. That's better borrowing, in my opinion. And if you are borrowing that, so in this scenario, you're borrowing someone else's money that is not marked to market, because marked to market in my industry means that the value of your the value of what you posted as collateral is being marked in real time. That's a little more dangerous. If you are borrowing with a static payment amount that has nothing to do with a moving price of what you posted as collateral, that's a better form of borrowing. Now, if we take the borrowing from a bank loan, it is not really marked to market of any asset that you've posted. What you are posting is your reputation. What you're posting is your credit worthiness. What you're posting is basically your earnings potential and things of that nature. And so you're getting a loan that just has a static amount that you have to pay at over a predetermined period of time. That's the best borrowing you can do, right? And if your life, my view is that if your life is not affected by, in a great way, by the payment that needs to be, that you are obligated to pay to service that loan, meaning that you're not going to make your wife or your husband suffer because you've taken out this loan. Your kids don't have to do without just because you want to be a bigger Bitcoiner. I will run into issues with some of the really hardcore Bitcoiners when it comes to this, but I don't believe in taking things so far where you cause another human being, especially one that you've taken responsibility for, cause them hardship or extra problems, that you make them sacrifice to the bone because you want more Bitcoin. I don't think you should take it that far. I think that if you're in the position where you take a loan out and the payment that you're responsible for is something that doesn't make your family suffer, that you can easily, I can easily take care of this and my life is not greatly affected, Oliver, then that's a good loan. Because Bitcoin will outpace over time any loan you can get on planet Earth right now. So you don't have to worry about whether or not Bitcoin's going to outpace the terms of your loan. It's always going to do that. It has outpaced every single thing human beings have ever conceived by a long shot, not even by a little, by a long shot. So you're safe there. You just have to make sure the payment you're obligated for is something that you can do without making other human beings suffer because of what you want. And you have to make sure that the loan you're taking doesn't run the risk of you having less Bitcoin or no Bitcoin. And so that's my take on it. You know, I am less concerned with, well, what's the interest rate? You know, oh, it's a 12%, 14%. That's too high. Bitcoin kills 14%. You don't have to worry about that. Well, you know, other people borrow at 7% and you're borrowing at 14%. Bitcoin kills that. Just, you don't have to worry about that so much. Is the payment that you're responsible for, is that going to make you have to almost be on the fucking street? And if the answer is no, I can easily handle that. That's no big deal. Then I think that that's smart borrowing. Because when you are borrowing to buy Bitcoin, what you're doing is you are truly exercising a speculative attack on the failing system. So think of it this way. When you borrow money, you're shorting the US dollar. Now, the US dollar is guaranteed to lose money every single second of its existence. Every single second. And so if you are borrowing and taking advantage of the value today, tomorrow it's less value. Next month is even less value. Next year is even less value. But you've gotten the value from today when a year from now, it's substantially less. 4 years from now, it's exponentially less. So you're shorting the dollar. You're grabbing the value today, a value that you know will be less later. That is smart. You are utilizing the value today to get something that goes the other way. So you're getting the value of the dollar today, which is less tomorrow, for something that is more tomorrow. That is a speculative attack on the existing system, the existing failing system. And this is the way wealth has been traditionally created over the past 50 plus years. All right. You will not find someone who is extraordinarily well off who has not used debt this way. They've understood that the way to increase one's value is to sell or short the fiat currency through debt. Debt is shorting the fiat currency. This is what Michael Saylor is doing with his version of a speculative attack on the system. He is selling shares, selling fiat based, denominated based things, which lose their value. He's getting the value today, buying Bitcoin, which he knows 4 years from now is higher, but what he borrowed is 4 years less. 4 years from now is worth less. So he's gaining on both sides. The thing he's purchasing is higher 4 years from now. The thing he's getting the value from now is less 4 years from now. So when he has to pay it back, he has to pay a lower cost. So he's getting both sides. He's squeezing both sides of the scenario. This is how wealth has traditionally been created over the last 50 plus years in the confines of a system where what you're borrowing loses value at an increasingly faster rate. So that's what I have to say about that. Just be careful. Make sure you're using the right amount of debt. You don't have to worry so much about the interest rate as much as you have to worry about, is it static? Is the payment comfortably made? And yes, then of course. And what I like about what Michael Saylor's doing is if you look at the terms of the debt that he's raising, it's always into the next cycle. It's crazy, right? So he understands that Bitcoin is mathematically designed to be higher every 4 years and it will never fail you. And so the maturity is always 4 years or more. So he's playing 3D chess in a world where people still don't understand that the game is 3D chess and they're playing freaking basic checkers. And he's beating everybody. He understands the system. It's wild. Let's see here. In 2028, I don't see any BTC left on exchanges or OTC desks. Just if the trend continues just like that. True. This is a disappearing asset, right? What do you think? Or how do you see the panorama for 2028? I've spoken about this on a variety of different occasions, right? I just believe, guys, that exchanges are a temporary business. It's not a long-term, Bitcoin exchanges that's not a long-term business. Because we're quickly approaching a time where you're simply not going to be able to buy Bitcoin. And I've spoken about this on a variety of different occasions, right? Who's going to sell you Bitcoin for government painted money when that money is less every 4 years and this is more every 4 years? Who's going to make that exchange? As more and more people in the world understand that every second I hold a dollar, an Argentinian peso, a Turkish lira, a Nigerian naira, I think it is, a Japanese yen, a euro, that every second I hold it, it's losing purchasing power. And every 4 years, it's way less. As people understand that in every 4 years, Bitcoin is higher. When people understand this, who's going to make that trade in the future? Who's going to say, yeah, I will take the thing that goes down every second and is guaranteed to be greatly lower 4 years from now. I'll take that in exchange for this, which is guaranteed to go up every 4 years of my entire life and the lives of my children and their children. Who's going to do that? The reason why it's possible now is because we're early and people don't understand this. You understand? Let me give you an example. It's very much like this. Whether this story is absolutely true is not the point. It drives the point. It still drives the point home. It is said, and I was taught this in school, that Manhattan was sold for a pig and a blanket for warmth. One pig and a blanket to the Indians. I mean, the word Manhattan is a native Indian word, Manhattan. Manhattan was supposedly sold for a pig and a blanket. Now, the people who received the pig and a blanket thought that that was a good exchange. All of Manhattan for a pig and a blanket. Now, again, whether that story is absolutely true is not the point. It was taught to me in school as being true. They were early. Today, would they change Manhattan? Would that deal be made today? Oh, yeah, you want all of Manhattan for one pig and a blanket for warmth? Sure. Never in a million years today. The reason why, if that deal did actually happen, that it was possible was because the people with Manhattan didn't understand what they had. And they felt at the time that was an okay exchange. Today, when I buy Bitcoin, I'm always thinking, pig in a blanket. These people are selling me freaking Manhattan real estate, and they don't know it. And I'm giving them a pig in a blanket. This will not last, which is why I'm always telling you and anyone who will listen to me, your time is limited. This level of ignorance and stupidity will not last forever. You know, this opportunity where people will accept government printed money, which we know they tell you it's going to go down. The Federal Reserve tells you, well, you know, we're striving to have a 2% annual inflation rate. That is the world's guideline. We strive to have a 2%. What are they telling you? We're striving to make your value drop by 2% every single year of your life until you die. So it's not a secret that your value drops. It's not, they tell you what they're striving. Oh, well, right now it's based on our metrics, your value or your life, you're losing 4%, 4.4% of your life every year. But we strive to only have you lose 2% of your life every single year. So they even tell you that you're going to lose your life, a portion of your life every year until you die. That is your human fate because you were born in this country. But we have something that says you're going to increase your life every 4 years, forever. And if you happen to die, your kids will enjoy every 4 years of increase, and their kids forever. Now, as more and more people understand this, they're not going to make that exchange for a pig in a fucking blanket. They're not going to say, oh, I will take what is guaranteed to lose my life in exchange for what's guaranteed to increase my life. It's just misunderstood right now. And therein lies the opportunity, people. That's not a bad thing. We are special in that we are living in a time where the vast majority in the world is willing to give up their Manhattan for one pig and a blanket and be happy with it. And as long as that exists, I will make that trade every single day, and sometimes twice a day. I will make it until everyone smartens up. But I'm not going to stop. Some people say, well, Oliver, when are you going to stop buying Bitcoin? When am I going to stop making the trade from Manhattan for a pig in a blanket? Never. As long as someone's willing to take a pig in a blanket from me, because I make a pig in a blanket, dollars. That's a pig in a blanket. And as long as they're willing to give me their Manhattan for it, I will never stop, ever making that trade. Would you stop making that trade? Look at how valuable Manhattan is today. What about more Manhattans and more Manhattans? What if you could keep doing that over and over again? That was one trade. What if you keep making the trade for another Manhattan for another pig in a blanket? You would do it over and over and over again. And it doesn't matter what the price is. It's still a fucking pig in a blanket. That's all it is that you're trading it for. Oh, well, Bitcoin's down to 40,000. I'll still do the trade for a pig in a blanket. Oh, now it's 70,000. I'll still do the trade for a pig in a blanket. It's 20,000. I'll still do the trade for a pig in a blanket. It's 150. I'll still do the trade for a pig in a blanket. Do you follow what I'm saying? You're not going to trick me into not doing that trade. Oh, it's $1 million. You're still, okay. You're still willing to give me the $1 million item that goes up more than $1 million for a pig in a blanket? I'll take it. Some people say, Oliver, what are you going to buy when Bitcoin's at $1 million, man? At $1 million. I'm going to buy the fucking dip. What are you talking about? What am I going to buy? I'm going to buy the dip, dude. I'm going to buy the dip for a pig in a blanket. I mean, do you follow what I'm saying, guys? Does this make sense? Am I making it clear? Sometimes maybe I'm not making it clear enough, but I'm just curious. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. You may not agree with what I'm saying, but at least I want to be understood, All right. Let me know. I want to see your comments. In the meantime, I'll read Chris's question. Chris says, Samson Mao and Arthur Hayes predicting 1 million per Bitcoin this cycle. What are my thoughts? And a little smiley face on this. Aunt C, I appreciate that. Aunt C says, fuck yeah, that makes sense. All right, I appreciate that. Samson Mao, Arthur Hayes predicting 1 million. I think I mentioned this in my last talk or two, maybe the last two talks. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you for letting me know that you understand. I mentioned this, I believe, in my last two talks, that I believe, I was talking to friends about this today. We're sitting on my balcony smoking some cigars, and I was having the same conversation. It is time, I was telling them, it is time to be absolutely freaking delusional. Listen to my words, people. If there ever was a time to think delusionally, to be delusional, it's now. I want you to come up with the freaking craziest but kind of possible price you can come up with. I mean, let's not be absolutely dumb with it, but I want you to stretch your thinking. I want you to think in this terms. What if we are at the point, people, in my opinion, that you need to think, what if you need to sit your family members around your dinner table and say, I know this might sound freaking delusional, but what if Bitcoin touches $1 million by late 2025? I think you should have those conversations around your dinner table, people, now. And you can even go a little bit higher. 1,200,000, 1,500,000, 2. Well, let's even get an extra credit. What if Bitcoin touches $2 million? I don't think that it was the time to be that delusional when Bitcoin was 100 or even 1,000 or even 10,000 at that point. But now it's time. It's time to be stupid. Because stupid just might not turn out to be stupid now. $1 million? Possible. More? Possible. Likely? That's debatable. But if there ever was a time where it's the most possible in Bitcoin's life, it's now. We're living that now, people. We're living it now. And I am not just pulling this out of my ass. Do you understand? I am using historical precedent for these possibilities. I don't just pull things out of the air. I consider myself a small little student of history. These things have happened before, and more so. All one need do is study what happened to Germany in the 1920s. You understand? And how their currency just went on a freaking exponential dive to the downside. And if you look at what gold did, priced in, I can't remember what the currency was. The current German Reichs, maybe? I'm not sure. You'll see something that is just absolutely stupefying. The point that I believe that's very important to understand is that we are on the tail end of the current system that we currently think is what is normal. The current experiment. We are in the midst of an experiment that the world has never experienced before. And that is the fiat currency experiment. It's not very old, actually, either. Never before, fiat currencies have existed before, but never before has the world been on a fiat currency standard. Never. This is a brand new experiment for the human race, and it is failing miserably. But fiat currency systems have failed historically. That's not new. What is a fiat currency? A currency that is not really, does not really come from something sound or real or anything. It is just spun up by the members of a group a country, a kingdom that is ruled by those people. And those people just spin up and say, listen, we're creating the money for you. And we're not giving you a choice. You have to work for this. You want to live in our country, our land, you got to work for this. We determine what the money is, and you're going to get paid in this. And you have to pay us taxes in this. It's not backed by anything. It's not real or anything. It's our creation. We create it. And we're telling you that our creation is your money. And every day you wake up in your life, you give your life for this, my creation. And in order to ensure, not that I need it, because I don't need the money I create, right? I can just create more of it, right? That's not the point. I don't need the money from you that I create. I still need you to pay me taxes in that money to ensure that you are working for my money. I can create it at will, so I don't really need your taxes. But your taxes guarantee that you are waking up every single day of your life and working for my creation, my money. And that is how I ensure that you're locked in. Because the moment you stop paying me my bullshit money, which I can create at will, I don't need it, but that's my check on you. When you stop paying me my creation, then I know you have opted out and I'm throwing you in jail. And so this system where you don't have a choice, you have to work for another man's created money, that has never existed in the million years of human evolution. It's really a very young experiment on the human race where every controlled group in the world decides simultaneously, we're going to try this out on the whole human race. This is new, people. It's barely 50 years old, and it is failing at an exponential rate. And the reason, so I tell you all of this to, in a circuitous route, to come around to my final point, which is we've had collapses throughout all of history. All of history. Every empire's collapsed. Every lordship, every dictatorship, every empire has collapsed. We've had collapses. But we've never had an entire global collapse that is in one system. You see, when we've experienced collapses throughout the human experience, it's always been, okay, they collapsed. But we're not on their standard. Their standard collapsed. We're in a different standard. Oh, now they collapse, but we're not part of them. So it was always collapses in pockets. Today, people, everyone is the same. Every country, every power is on the same faulty, shifty sand. And the next collapse is everybody. This is why you need Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the only thing that will save you from this global failure. And everything has to fail, right? Everything. Bitcoin is outside of that, so it doesn't have to. But I'm saying every system fails. The average lifespan of a fiat currency is 27 to 35 years. I can show you this. This is not something that I'm making up here, right? So if I show you this, give me a second. So I want to show you this. So I think sometimes it's a bit more, it has more impact if I can show you this as I say it. And so if you look at this, I want you to look at this. So what you will see here is, and let me just see if I can just, here's what I want to show you. The average lifespan of a fiat currency is around 35 years. It's actually 27 to 30 years. Median average lifespan is around 25 years. Do you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Is it big enough? Anyway, we're talking 25 years is the average. 25 years for a collapse. Average fiat currency collapses in 25 years. So they come and go. The fiat currency cemetery is exponentially larger than all fiat currencies that exist today. So they all go to the fiat currency cemetery in about 25 years, some longer, some shorter. This is an average. So imagine some fiat currencies go to the cemetery in 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. The average is 25, right? So they all collapse. But let's see if I can find this. What's the average lifespan? Oh, shoot. The average lifespan. So wait, so I get this 2 in 1. The average lifespan of a world reserve currency is about 100 years. So the difference that I want to explain to you is this. There are two types of fiat currencies. There's the fiat currency that's not the world reserve currency. That's the Turkish lira, things like that. The Argentinian peso. Then there's the world reserve currencies, like the US dollar is today, but other world reserve currencies existed, like the British pound was the world reserve currency. Now it's the US dollar. Spain had the world reserve currency for a period of time. Portugal had the world reserve currency for a period of time. China had the world reserve currency for a period of time. So it's the world reserve currency is the currency that the majority of the globe decides is a money they will use as a standard. They may have their money, but this is the global standard. So the dollar today is the world reserve currency. It is the global standard. It is where most business throughout all countries are done in US dollars. It's the global standard. No one's going to refuse dollars for their big, giant business transactions. So there's regular fiat currencies, average lifespan 25 years. Then there's world reserve currencies, average 100 years. Where do you think we are with the US dollar? You see where I'm getting at? 100 plus years? You think I'm the only one who knows this? You think I'm the only one who figured this out? That we're near the end? What's the next? The smartest people will be looking for what's next before what is collapses. And I am telling you that what is next is Bitcoin. And I'm not the only one who knows this or realizes this or sees this. And it is why you must, for your family, for your future, grab as much as this as possible, because as I mentioned, there's a point where no one's going to give it to you for a pig in a blanket. But you got to get it now. All right. I hope I'm making sense, guys. Yes. JR Trades. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It says you blow my mind. I appreciate that. But what I feel is that today still too many people are looking at this Bitcoin as just another thing. I don't speak to you from the angle that Bitcoin's another thing. It's just another thing to make more pig in the blankets. No, I just want to make more. I want to have more pigs and I want to have more blankets. That's what most people are using or approaching Bitcoin as. It's a way to make more pigs in blankets, more dollars. It's a way to escape dollars. We're on the tail end, dude. I just showed you 100 years. We're on the freaking tail end. Germany was on the tail end in the 1920s. You see what happened to that shit. Some of you remember currencies that used to exist that don't even exist today. Where is the Italian lira today? French francs, anyone? Anyone? German marks? I traded on Wall Street and I traded in German marks. They don't exist today. I traded German marks in the 1980s. Where's the German mark today? Doesn't exist. There's the euro today. So, will there be a point where there's no US dollar? Dude, that's like saying, will there be a point where you die? Of course. I showed you the lifespan. They all die. The question is, what's going to replace? We know. The early people who understand this know what's going to replace. And you got to get it now. Because when the world realizes that's what's replacing, you won't be able to get it. You want to position yourself now. Oh, yeah, you're going to be called stupid. And let me just say this. I sympathize with some of you. I sympathize with some of you who even get what I'm saying. And I sympathize with you because some of you are in a situation where the very people, the very person you go to bed with every night doesn't see this, doesn't believe this, thinks you're nuts, think you're crazy, and you go to bed with that person every single night. I sympathize with you. Some of you break bread at your dinner table every night with people who think you're insane because you believe in Bitcoin. I understand. And I sympathize with you. And this is one of the reasons why I decided to sort of create a tight-knit community, because sometimes that's so hard. You just need to be around like-minded people who understand this. Because every time you walk in your home, you're an idiot. And that's very difficult. But you have to keep doing it because you are the savior for those very people who consider you dumb, stupid, and an idiot right now. I mean, if you care about them, and you just got to keep doing it, you got to find a way to keep doing it. And you got to find like-minded people to stick with and be in contact with to keep your faith up, because it's not easy. We are going to be called lucky in the future. But you and I know there's no luck to this. I had to freaking ride negativity every single day of my life, stupidity thrown at me. I had to be called all kinds of names. I had to be vilified publicly. I had to ride 70, 85% up and down movements. I had to watch what I considered my wealth, 85% of it disappear. And I still had to keep the faith. This is not easy. Being early is not easy. And no one should trick you into believing that freedom is easy and freedom is cheap. There's a cost for this. And we need to stick together to keep each other's faith up to keep them focused, not lose sight of where this is going. It's not easy. It's not easy being early. It's not easy being the savior. It's not easy being free. Staying in your comfort little jail cell, that's the easy part. Oh, well, I painted the bars of my prison different colors. That's okay. And I put a little carpet on the floor. I got a little carpet on my prison cell. And my bars are painted different colors. And in art class, I drew this nice painting. Look at the paintings I drew in art class, in the prison art classes. They're on the freaking prison walls. It's not easy breaking from that. Going out into the uncharted territory, dealing with doubt, and sometimes no evidence at the moment that you're right. At 15,000, 16,000, there's no evidence that you're right. And this is why understanding at a deep level is necessary, because the trick can be the US dollar can play a trick on you. Just go back to the prison, dude. We'll give you new cans of paint to paint. You can paint your prison walls any color you want to. Just come back. Come back. We've got new art classes. Oh, we've got this art teacher, dude, that can teach you how to paint like freaking Monet to put on your prison walls. Just come back. Sometimes there's no evidence that you're right, but you know that you're right. And so being around the same people with the same understanding is very important. That community is very important to keep you on track, because it's lonely when you're early, and we're early. It's lonely when you're early. You know what I'm saying? LibTech. Serious question, Ali. I don't think we will see another bear market in Bitcoin like previous, and drawdowns like before. I think you might be right. I don't think that bear markets are gone per se. And I don't think volatility is gone either. I still think that we're still early enough where bear markets will exist. Volatility will still be with us for a while. And that's a good thing, by the way. But what I will agree with you with is that I don't think the drawdowns will be as severe as they have been in the past. I think it's going to be easier to hodl on the downside and to use the downside for more generational wealth in the turn back to the upside. And so that is where I think we are in the cycle. We have constant institutional bid in the market. We have a growing awareness on the part of big money today. And for that reason, that we're at that second stage of adoption that actually becomes a little bit more stable, that produces a little bit more stability on the downside in markets. Guys, I went into Amazon in the year 2003 with almost everything that I owned and had at the time, and pounded the table huge. There are people who follow me today, who are close to me today, who were with me at that time, and they are extraordinarily loyal to me. Their children are loyal to me. They send me Christmas cards. The children who were little at the time, some not even born at the time, because their lives were so changed by this same almost crazy obsession with Bitcoin that I have today is somewhat the same that I experienced with Amazon back in the day, when I saw how this company is going to take over the world. And I pounded the table very much like I'm pounding the table now on Bitcoin. And so, from a split adjusted price, Bitcoin under $1, $1.50. But my point is that I experienced multiple 85% drawdowns at that stage in Amazon and never let go. And those 85% declines that happened with a certain frequency became less frequent. And then those declines became more naturally 60% declines, 65% declines, and then 35, 40, 45% declines. And that is traditionally what happens with every burgeoning major thing. It's more volatile in the beginning and it becomes increasingly less volatile as it becomes more and more adopted and understood. More and more people are willing to step up to the plate and buy that decline from someone who doesn't know what they have. And so those declines get higher and higher. And we need look no further than our own personal lives, right? You were more volatile at 13 years old than you are today, 15 years old. You were more capable of doing backflips and rolling down hills and falling and making some serious errors, than you are today. And your life, if you've lived it correctly, doesn't experience that level of volatility today. Not that you don't have bad times, but you don't experience that level of volatility. And so it's like anything else in life. Over time, Bitcoin will become less volatile, but we don't want to rush that because the greatest opportunity lies within its highly volatile era. And if you understand what you have, you use the volatility. That volatility becomes a tool for generational wealth in the future. And so while people are letting it go in one of its downside volatile periods, you're taking it from them. You're exchanging a pig in a blanket for Manhattan. And that is what we did with Amazon from 2003. But yes, less volatile over time for sure. I do think. Can I get into your BTC program, please? I know it ain't free. Yes. Listen, I'm not here to try to sell you anything because at the end of the day, all I'm going to tell you to do is freaking buy Bitcoin, keep buying it, self-custody it, secure it properly, run your own node, be totally self-sovereign, and never stop. So you already have what I'm going to tell you to do. I take a group of Bitcoiners and we go deeper. UTXO management, the proper multi-sig custody, which nodes to run, how to set up your node, how to borrow against your Bitcoin. Like we go deeper than I can do in a public space. But at the end of the day, guys, all I'm going to tell you to do, buy every single week of your life, your goal's going to be Bitcoin richer every week, not US dollar richer. To be Bitcoin richer every week, no matter what the cost, no matter what the price, you make sure that you have more Satoshis this week than last week. That is it. Then don't ever stop that. I'm also going to tell you on certain percentage moves to the downside, do more. So you're already buying every week, but do more after a certain percentage move downside. And then I'm going to tell you so that you don't have to do this. You can, but I'm telling you what I'm doing with my Bitcoiners so that you don't have to pay. Buy every week. Make sure that you have more Satoshis this week than any other week. Forever. As long as they're willing to accept a pig in a blanket, you do it. After a certain percentage move to the downside, do more. Find a way to do more. Then I'm going to tell you, self-custody it. Don't let another man say, I'll hold it for you. I'll hold your value for you. Yeah. Don't ever allow that anymore. That has been a trick that's been pulled on the human race forever. We're not doing that anymore. Done with that. I don't need another man taking care of my shit. Self-custody your stuff. I'll tell you to do that, and the best ways to do it. Then I'm going to tell you, run your own freaking node. You want to be your own bank? Run your own node. You want to be totally free? Run your own node. You want to be totally independent and disconnected from everything else that can possibly fail? Run your own freaking node. Don't rely on another human being for anything. You be the last stop. Do you understand? For your family and for the family in your bloodline that's not even born yet. You're protecting them. That is your responsibility, to protect the kids of your kids of your kids that aren't even born yet. Because what you do today is you're setting up their future today, because they won't have the opportunity you have today. No person born today will ever be able to buy Bitcoin. Do you understand the implications of this? No one's going to give, they're not going to give this thing up for a pig in a blanket. We are able to, but no human being born today will ever be able to buy Bitcoin, ever. The window of you and I being able to buy is closing like this. By the time a person born today gets to a place where they're ready to buy Bitcoin, no Bitcoin is going to be for sale. Zero. You're going to be able to work for it. You'll be able to work for another Bitcoiner, but you're not going to be able to buy it. So what we do now is securing our bloodline forever. That is how unique we are and how special we are in this period of human evolution. And you can fuck it up and be on the outside looking in, and your whole family forever will be on the outside looking in. You understand? So we want to recognize this now and take full advantage. So to make a long story short, guys, I always close my private group and I open it up for maybe like a week or so every 6 months. I'm going to open it up for one more week right before the halving, because I want to have a big online halving party with my group of Bitcoiners. But in reality, I'm going to tell you this now. If you get what I've just told you, those steps, you don't really need to. I'm not trying to get your money. I don't need it. I put it in Bitcoin. I'm just saying, if you want to be close to me and we walk this journey together, okay, I wish I could do it for free. I've got a big team that supports me. I've got salaries to pay, there's technology to pay, and what have you. And we do it the right way. But you don't. If you just buy it every week, self-custody, buy the dips, run a node, you're good. Because that's all I'm going to tell you to do over and over and over again. But I'll let you know when that's open again. All right. Yes, I will let you know. Trust me, you will know, LibTech. I appreciate you wanting to be a part of that. Yeah. Let's see here. Uh, wait a minute. That's not. Let me see here. Uh, uh, Jade from Blockstream is one of the best. I like Jade a lot. They are definitely one of the best hardware wallets. I like Jade because it's relatively simple. And simplicity is overrated, but it should be. It shouldn't be. What I also like about Jade is that it's one of the least expensive self custody solutions out there. Number two, simple, one of the least expensive. Two, the third thing I like about Jade is that it's the one of the most holistic approaches to self custody. So there's a hardware wallet itself, a device, a signing device. There is an app on your phone that you can interact with your Bitcoin and your node, and if you have it connected to a node and what have you. Then there's a desktop app. These things are not risky to use as long as you're securing it with your hardware device, your seed phrase with your hardware device. And so there are very few things where you have a device, you've got an app on your phone, you've got an app on your computer. You have access to a side chain called Liquid, and there are some multi-sig capabilities built into that ecosystem. So I can't speak highly enough. And they're not the only solution. I love Fountain and what they're doing as well. Love Cold Card. These are not as holistic, but really, really solid options to self custody for sure. I appreciate that, Strata. Thank you. Cold Card, yes. What's my favorite cigar? Let's try to keep it focused on Bitcoin here. Got a few favorites, but yeah. What else here? That it? I appreciate that, JC. I appreciate that. We love you, brother. Keep getting it. Night, yes. Two nodes running. Nice. Yeah. I have a node running in every single one of my homes, guys. And I'm down to 8 homes now. I used to have many more, but I'm down to 8 homes now. And I have a node running in all. And I'll show you this real fast. You see this? That's the brand new baby right there. I don't know if you can see that. That's the new Umbral home, which I highly recommend. So I'm replacing some of my existing nodes with this in all of my different homes. Just so plug and play and easy. I love this thing. And shout out to Umbral, guys, umbral.com. So highly, highly recommended. In fact, let me just even show you if I can, and then I'm going to get out of your hair here. But if you want, I can show you this. Yeah. So this is Umbral's home node setup. I love it. Meet Umbral Home. It's literally plug and play. It's future proof as well. This is just freaking great. And let me just say this. I will say this, guys, that there will be a day, in my opinion, right, in which we will be banks for other people in the world. But you're going to have to own Bitcoin, not a freaking Bitcoin ETF. Bitcoin, self-custodied Bitcoin. And we are going to help people buy their homes with our Bitcoin. And we're going to take a spread on that home purchase, that business setup. We're going to have the base layer of money. Do you understand that the base layer of money, from the base layer of money springs all of these activities? We're going to group together and form a federation that lends the security for all of these projects. Families, communities that want to buy a home or build a community, they're going to need a base layer to support that. And we're going to earn from that. And it's going to be secure. In no way will we ever be in a position to lose what we post and what we put up as collateral or security. The day is coming where that used to be in the hands of the elite. This is bringing all of that to every single person who owns Bitcoin. The future is way bigger than most people are thinking with this. Oliver, when can I earn interest on your Bitcoin? Dude, we're going to be the freaking banks of the future. What are you talking about? Interest paid to you by another man? No, dude, we're going to be the base layer of everything. Nothing in the world will be done without a Bitcoiner. That's where this is going. That's the power that you have every single time you get more Satoshis. You are increasing your power to be that. This is more than a trade. This is more than buying something for $1 and selling it for $2. Remember that. Don't get fooled by the short term. I want more pigs in a blanket, Oliver. One more dollars. One more Argentinian pesos. I've got some built up pigs in a blanket in my Bitcoin trade. It's just such a very small, low IQ view of this thing. On my watch, I won't let you have that. On my watch, we're going after it all. All right. All right, guys. Listen, enjoy the rest of your evening. What day is it? It's holiday week, guys. Remember, guys, last check I had, there's $11 billion short Bitcoin. In futures contracts, there's $9 billion in outstanding options that expire all on Friday. It's a big week, guys. And this is why we're seeing a lot of volatility in the USD denominated price of Bitcoin. Don't let that fool you. You hang on tight. But we're likely to, into this end of the week, you're likely to see Bitcoin just get like freaking crazy because of all these contracts that are expiring. You just hold tight and just watch those idiots get knocked back and forth and use some of the down to get more Satoshis. All right. It's all temporary bullshit by people trading pigs in a blanket back and forth. All right. So lots going on. Friday is a holiday for most markets, the key market in the United States, of course, but Bitcoin is never on holiday. So those contracts still, despite the fact that US based markets are closed on Friday, because Bitcoin is not closed, those futures contracts still expire on Friday. Those options contracts still expire on Friday. Next week's going to be a very fascinating week. All of that is out of the way. So get ready, go to work, stack harder. Ciao for now.